KEYNOTE-189 was a game changer in non-squamous, non-small cell lung cancer. Up until that point in this population, I had generally treated individuals with pemetrexed and carboplatin either alone or combined with bevacizumab, angiogenesis inhibitor. In patients who weren't candidates for pemetrexed, I would give them the PAC-carbo regimen in combination with bev, which had proven in phase 3 clear survival advantage compared to chemotherapy alone. It was my go-to regimen. Pemetrexed and bev were continued together as maintenance treatment. All of that pretty much changed with the emergence, first of 021G, the precursor trial, the randomized phase 2 that ultimately led to a conditional approval for the pembrolizumab triplet, and now it's been firmly entrenched based on KEYNOTE-189. The follow-up randomized phase 3 trial, 2-to-1 randomization of that same combination versus standard pemetrexed and carboplatin. The triplet was given for 4 cycles, with pemetrexed continued as maintenance therapy indefinitely, and pembro continued for up to 2 years. Control arm likewise featured indefinite maintenance with pemetrexed. At the time of disease progression, patients on the control arm could cross over to single-agent pembrolizumab or to an immunotherapy agent of their choice. The trial was remarkable. Despite the crossover, we observed a significant improvement in overall survival with really the best hazard ratio I've seen in my career, hazard ratio under 0.5. The survival benefits were relatively more pronounced in the PD-L1 50% or higher group, but those survival advantages were observed as well in the 1 to 49% group in those patients without PD-L1 expression. The PFS advantage, again, was observed across the board. Median PFS in the control group was just under 5 months. It was approaching 9 months in the triplet. And again, as we've seen with OS, the survival advantage was magnified in those with higher levels of PD-L1 expression. And we observed overall response benefit, 46, 48% compared to about 18%. In those with PD-L1 expression, 50% or higher, that response rate jumps up into the mid-60s. Based on these data, the triplet has now become my standard regimen. Pemetrexed, carboplatin, pembrolizumab. It does result in different constellation of toxicities, immune-mediated toxicities, including particularly hypothyroidism, arthralgias, arthritis, rash, dermatitis, sometimes pruritus in the absence of significant rash, rarely colitis or nephritis. But we don't see the toxicities we typically associate with bevacizumab. So pretty unusual to see significant bleeding or clotting. Headaches, hypertension are not major features of this new combination. As a result of the positive findings of KEYNOTE-189, that regimen, PEM, carbo, pembro, has now been included in the NCCN guidelines. But the prior regimens have not been excluded. We still have the option of using pemetrexed and carboplatin either alone, potentially combined with bevacizumab, PAC-carbo, bevacizumab. And there are certain patients who are candidates for that regimen who really are not really appropriate for pembrolizumab. Individuals with pre-existing immune-related disease or autoimmune disorders, folks with collagen and vascular disease, patients who've undergone renal transplants, or for that matter, liver transplants. I would far more readily give bevacizumab in combination with chemo than I would consider an immune-active agent that might lead to graft rejection. In addition, I have a slightly higher level of comfort considering the bevacizumab-based regimens in individuals with somewhat compromised performance status. The KEYNOTE-189 trial, and really virtually all of the immunotherapy trials, have been confined to individuals who are PS0 or 1. Finally, the regimens, the KEYNOTE-189 regimen explicitly excluded individuals with molecular aberrations So individuals with EGFR mutation, ALK translocation, they were not candidates for 189. Likewise, they were not candidates for KEYNOTE-024, which showed a benefit for single-agent pembro versus chemo in those with 50% or higher expression. So the standard regimen in that population, when they become TKI refractory, does not include pembrolizumab. It would preferentially include bevacizumab with chemotherapy.